The Last of Us was easily one of the more impressive demos to come out of E3 2012. Now, after 3 Uncharted games, it seems that developer Naughty Dog chose to go in a different direction, and for that I'm grateful. Now, if you've seen my other videos, then you know that I'm a huge fan of apocalyptic science fiction. I think the big difference between 2012 and 2011 is that the video games in 2011 were very much sequels, whereas a lot of the games in 2012 are going to be new IPs. And even though it'll be a while before we get to actually play this game, I am still super stoked for The Last of Us when it comes out in 2013. The Last of Us was easily one of the more impressive demos to come out of E3 2012. So what can we take from the demo? We know that the stars of the game are a 14-year-old girl named Ellie and a 30-something guy named Joel. And it has been confirmed by Naughty Dog that you will not actually control Ellie. And what I mean by that is she is a complete and total AI. We do know that the game takes place 20 years or so after a major apocalyptic event. We know that civilization has collapsed and nature has once again taken over. And one of the things I liked about this demo was there were no infected in this trailer. We actually saw human against human struggle to survive. In other horror games, it was always humans versus zombies, and I think what this game is trying to bring out is the fact that it's not only a struggle against human versus zombies, but humans versus other humans also struggling to survive. We're seeing this trend where we're moving away from survival action and we're really going back to the roots of survival horror. One of the chief complaints I've had of modern day horror games is you're way overpowered in terms of ammo and guns, and as a result it sucks all the tension and suspense out of the gameplay. I think we're really starting to see a shift in games where you only might have a handful of bullets, otherwise you're going to have to get up close and personal, whether it be with a bow and arrow, a knife, or a Molotov cocktail. It's clear that the developers are drawing a lot of their influences from Cormac McCarthy's The Road, the Walking Dead series, as well as other movies like No Country for Old Men. We're seeing this new trend in gaming where ammo is sparse and you'll only have a handful of bullets to use at your disposal. Now, another thing the developers of The Last of Us have been talking about is this idea of wide linear. Essentially what it boils down to is while the idea of the game is essentially to get from point A to point B, you'll have different branching paths which you can go in order to get there. I actually heard from developers when they finally got to play The Last of Us on the show floor is that their experience was entirely different than the one shown at Sony's conference. They were able to take different paths through the apartment building in order to get to their ultimate destination. But I think one of the most significant things to come out of this demo was to see the vast improvements that have been made to artificial intelligence. I was really astonished to see how realistic these enemy AIs reacted to your presence. Very early on in the demo, you put a guy in a chokehold, and when his buddy calls for him and he doesn't respond, he quickly becomes aware something is not right. Another thing about this demo was that gunshots might as well be signal flares, because as soon as a gun goes off, these enemies realize that something is just not right. And another thing to note is the inventory system. In the demo, we see Joel combining alcohol and oily rags to create a makeshift Molotov cocktail. And we also see that a big thing when it comes to survival is keeping track of your inventory and seeing that you have enough supplies to survive. The developers of Naughty Dog have actually gone on record with saying that the focus of the game was not to be zombies, but actually this father-daughter relationship that is going on between the characters of Ellie and Joel. And I was actually very surprised to find out that Ellie and Joel are not actual biological father and daughter. I've also heard rumors that there's going to be this reputation meter with regards to your character and Ellie. If you're too violent with your enemies, Ellie won't trust you like she normally would. Now, I don't know what that really means, but we're kind of just left to speculate at this point. Now, when you hear the focus of the game is based on the relationship between Ellie and Joel, what you don't want is for The Last of Us to be one giant escort mission. I think the developers at Naughty Dog are taking great pains to make sure this doesn't happen. And I was really floored by the amount of motion capture that was put into this game. Not just with the duck and cover system, but also with a lot of the fighting mechanics as well. And it was even the little things that people noticed in the demo that really astonished me. For instance, there's this short sequence where Joel is running down a hallway, and as he bounds down the corridor, he uses his hand to push himself off the wall. Now that might sound like nothing, but it was really these little details that a lot of people noticed that really got their heart pumping. Bottom line, I love the demo. I think Sony is doing a fantastic job. I think the guys at Naughty Dog are doing a fantastic job. And if past performance with the Uncharted series is any indication, we could look forward to a very exciting game with The Last of Us when it's released in 2013. That being said, I want to know your thoughts and feelings about The Last of Us. Were you impressed with the game? Were you disappointed? Feel free to put a comment in my channel. That being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. As always, feel free to rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel.